Howdy everybody. So we're in my garage today. I'm in my garage today. And let me see if I can get a shot of this. We got Dad's Land Cruiser in here. There we go, that's a pretty good shot. I got Dad's Land Cruiser in here. So, long time ago, over a year ago, I don't remember how long, maybe even 2 years ago. But over a year ago, we were on our way to a recovery, and Dad's front end started making a lot of noise. Now this thing has had some leaks ever since we did the gears in it. You can see a little bit of leakage down here. You can see, can't see. Let me get a flashlight. See a little bit of leakage coming from there. So we're going to tear it apart, see where the noise is coming from. See if I can get a good vantage point. I'm terrible at filming, but I'll do my best. I can tell that's too much backlash, and I can feel it right in there. It doesn't feel like the nut's loose, but I can feel some gurgly and some grit. So that tells me that ring and pinion's got to come out. The third member's got to come out, which is too bad. Dad also needs some bushings. Well, now I gotta decide if I want to do this tonight or if I want to wait till tomorrow night to do it. Because I do have other crap I gotta work on, so. Alright, so we're back on Dad's Land Cruiser. Eli, my wife's little brother, my little brother, via marriage, is down here helping this week, since he doesn't have school. So while I was working on the skid steer over here, Eli went ahead and pulled the knuckles apart, got the spindles off, got the axles out. He did both sides. There he is.
Howdy.
And he got that side done. So we're about to break open the drain plug, see what's in there, and then pull this third member out. So, enjoy. I'm gonna flip this over and hopefully it works. Still looks like I'm right side up.
Nope.
Ow! It's my eye. There's so much mud on this from Tierra. Well, that's not a good sign. That is not a good sign at all. You see that? Here. So, and that's just a trickle. So I think we found the cause, Dad. There's supposed to be about 6 to 8 thousandths. But it's a lot more than that. Oh crap. Forgot we have to engage the locker. Okay, put your head close to this and make sure that you hear it actuate. It's gonna go boom.
I heard it made a sound.
Let's see if that did it. Yep, that did her.
It's a little dry.
So that is bone dry. Somehow Dad developed a leak and lost all of his fluid. Obviously, since nothing came out when we opened it up. But the gears look fine. I mean, obviously we're gonna clean this up really good, but never mind. Pinion. Pinion's toast. Get it down in there where you can see. So the gears out here look pretty good, but the pinion is not good. So we'll just do a set of gears in it. I'll get them ordered. Shouldn't be too long. Today's New Year's, so can't get them today. It's too late today, I think, anyways. So we'll get them ordered tomorrow. We've been doing Revolution lately because Revolution has seemed to be the best quality that we have been able to get off the market lately. So I'll see if I can find some local. And then I've got a rebuild kit. I'm sure Ben does too. So we'll just grab some bearings, throw it together hopefully tomorrow, and put the thing back together. This time we'll just make sure we're checking fluids a little more often. All right, so we're back in the garage working on Dad's Land Cruiser. I got the third member out and sitting on the stand. That's what we're replacing today. We're gonna do the bearings and the gears and such. We got Big D with us today. And Little E. Sounds like a poor choice for filming. You are all up in my grill.
Well, I'm trying to look at what you're doing. Just to show everybody. Because I was filming your back like I'm not supposed to.
That was painful. I shouldn't have grabbed the gears with my hand. That hurted. Ouch, Charlie.
Charlie, that really hurt.
I was hoping I could get you smashing your feet.
That doesn't want to come out gentle, does it? All right, we'll have to be persuasive.
It's crowded in Caleb's garage.
Yeah, I need to do some massive cleaning. Get rid of most of this stuff. The bearing actually seems like it's in really good shape still. But I don't know if you can see those teeth. They're pretty gnarly. The bearing's really good too. I'm a little bit debating on just leaving that inner bearing in. I don't want to press that one off. I have a new one, so I'll just press the new one on. Let me show you what Eli's working on. So he's trying to clean up this housing for us. So he's got most of that cleaned. Still got some cleaning we got to do in there, but it's a lot cleaner than it was. And now we're gonna do the axle seals. So he pulled that one out. We're gonna put some new ones in. It's gonna be Gucci. Gucci.
Gucci?
Gucci.
Gucci?
Gucci.
No.
I think that's a word that people use nowadays. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Just like all the people that don't know you're supposed to Loctite these ring gear bolts.
I would never do that!
So we ran into a little snag. We started, I actually don't know when the camera turned off, so I don't know what all you saw. So, quick recap, we got the new ring on. It's all Loctited, torqued down. This part is cleaned up and ready to go in. Now the pinion, we went to put the pinion back in to the third member, and you can see I pulled all the stuff out the back. So the bearing is the right size, right here, which sits about right there. The bearing and the bearing seat are the right size. However, the oiler, this piece, oil slinger, and the seal are not the right size. And the flange is the wrong size. Actually, the middle right here is smaller in the flange, so it won't go on to the new one, which is a bummer. The guy at Cruiser Outfitters told me that you can't have 4.88's with the factory flange, and I said, yeah you do, because I have it right now. And I did have it, but apparently the new gears are not that way. So we are gonna go rob Ben's. Ben's is still messed up from hanging tree. So we're gonna go steal his parts off of his, because we're gonna tear his apart and redo the gears and everything, and the Burfield and everything in his. So we'll just order the right ones for Dad's, and then we'll put them on Ben's. That way we can still get this thing up and going tonight. So I'll bring the camera with me. It'll be dark. Ben's is outside on the 4-post at the shop, so we're gonna go get the right stuff for it and be right back.
It's freaking cold. Yes, it is. It's got to be low 20s. Around there?
Yeah.
Mid 20s.
Enough for me to shiver my timbers.
Shimber me timbers.
Yeah.
So we just got an off-road call.
Oh yeah?
Guy said he was at the Chloe boat ramp. He got 2 trucks stuck. And I was like, Chloe boat ramp? He says, yeah. And I paused for a second to let him tell me where that was, and he wasn't. So I just started to say, what reservoir is that? And he says, you know, by Pine. I'm like, Pines, Utah? Or Pine, Wyoming? He says, Pine, Idaho. I'm like, oh. He says, what state are you in? I said, Utah. Oh, I think I have the wrong number.
Yeah. We can go up there. It's just going to be a little bit more expensive.
That's what I told him. I said, if you don't find anybody, we can get up there. There we go.
Okay, that feels good. Nasty. It looks like cast because how it's bumpy. It's just built up nasty. Ugh. Burnt gear oil is the absolute worst substance on earth. When I was in high school, one of the first differentials I worked on, I had long hair, and I was working on the ground. There's no lifts or anything available back then, and I got it in my hair. I ended up having to get a haircut and just basically almost shaving my head, because didn't matter how many times you took a shower, that smell was not coming out. And it was one of those diffs that was like 300,000 miles, never been changed. Just melt your nose hair when you smell it. Awful, nasty stuff.
That's okay. Might go a hair more, but that'll let us set the backlash.
So what happens is the pinion has to have about 7 foot-per-pounds of drag on it. And when you put it together, usually with new bearings, new gears, everything's tight and it'll feel like it has the right amount. But then when you drive it and everything breaks in, it loosens up just a little bit. And if there's not enough drag on the pinion and it can go back and forth too easily when you're going down the road, if you're decelerating or accelerating, you've got tight pressure on the gears like this. But when you let off and you're coasting, there's play in here and it'll rattle back and forth and make a horrible noise and tear up your ring and pinion, and it's really annoying. Then you have to pull the driveline back off and retighten your pinion, and
it's way too much backlash too. You gotta bring.
Well, that's yeah. We got to move the whole thing. I wasn't done even tightening this side yet, but so you got to make sure.
I think we should go a little more.
A lot of times, instead of 7 to 9, I'll go like 11 to 12. That way, when it loosens up,
so
it's still.
I was just about to say, these are dry bearings. We didn't grease these bearings, and because of that, I would go like 10 to 12 foot-pounds of pressure. This is still a lot.
Yeah. It's got to go ways.
So one of the reasons that we made sure that we greased, but actually we did it with gear oil, these side bearings, is because when you set the preload on these side bearings, it's way more accurate to do so when they're wet and they can spin exactly how they're going to spin. Typically, I usually back this one off a little bit more until I get the right backlash, and then I'll tighten up the backlash a hair tighter than I want it, and then I'll tighten this up to the correct preload, and then I'll put the dial indicator on it to measure the backlash.
Really close.
Still
Just a hair too much. You don't want to leave these loose. This is what sets the tension in between your carrier bearings. So you got to make sure they're pretty tight. Yeah, you don't want that.
That's preloading the bearings.
Because that'll mess with your ring and pinion mesh, your gear pattern.
That's almost 15.
It doesn't seem like it's near that much.
It is though, yeah. It felt too much to me.
They always change when you tighten the bolts. That's why we check it after we've tightened everything. That way you don't get a good pattern and then you tighten it down and it changes. Seven. Yeah,
it's just
money. 7's perfect.
Boom.
I do not like to put this stuff on thick because that gives you false readings. So I put it on very thin, but when I brush the gears, I go into the very root of it and then brush straight out. So all of the lines are running this way with the teeth, not this way. Otherwise that gives you false readings too. It's just more accurate this way. And we like to put a drill. Do you have a drill?
Normally I do a drill and not an impact.
Hammer, because the hammer can tighten and loosen.
It can,
the nut.
but I just go real easy and it should be okay.
You put a little bit of drag on it, run it around several times, and then change directions. And this way you get a much better pattern.
It's pretty close to centered, but that would be a perfectly acceptable one for any off-road shop, but it's not quite deep enough for my liking. But like you said, Dad doesn't drive this thing very far, very fast. What do you think?
So you can see it's hitting more right towards the end, and then about here it's feathering out. So it's more centered right here instead of here. But this is the drive side. So under pressure, this is going to walk out this way a little bit. So instead of being right here and here under pressure, it's going to be more centered. It's going to push this way. So I think that's fine.
On the coast side,
on the coast side, it is almost a little bit more on this side. So that's good because it's going to push that way under coast. So it's not 100% perfect, but that, and the other thing I do, instead of just looking at the paint where it's taken off, I look at the marks on the teeth where the paint is left on, and those look actually pretty good.
It does. If you look down right here, right there. So let's give it a little ambient light. Yeah. So you can see right down in there.
It's looking pretty good. And then
very, very
if
centered.
you look up from the bottom, look how centered that looks.
Yeah, very centered.
So that is an acceptable pattern.
So the only thing that I would say as far as not perfect goes is you can see the teeth aren't quite as deep as they could be, but the meat of where it's hitting is right on the meat of the teeth. So it's almost perfect.
Very close.
But I think it's acceptable to run it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
We're gonna run it.
It's only on 37.
Like I said, so if you go to a shop and if you look on YouTube videos and stuff, what's in the acceptable range? This is well into the acceptable range. But we are much more, for lack of a better word, we're much more anal about the way we set up differentials. We like things right on, not within spec.
If these were 529s and 40-inch tires on one of our rigs, it's worth taking the extra time and making it perfect. But this is 4.88's and 37s, and this is Dad's rig.
Yeah,
he doesn't hammer this thing like we do ours. So
yeah, he's 70 years old and pretty mild.
That feels good. Yeah, let's put these in and stuff it.
I kind of want to hear more than that too.
That's the hard part with the crush sleeves, though. With the gun, it's hard to get it just right. I really like using the solid pinion spacers.
Yeah.
They take longer to set up.
Next time we do mine, I'm going to go to the solid one.
That's really close. Let's try just a hair more. That's better. I did tighten up just a fraction.
I like that.
So the other trick that I've learned with brand new bearings, typically you're setting up your drag on your pinion before you're putting the carrier in. So if you give it some pretty good taps forward and backward on the pinion with the dead blow, it helps settle the bearings and make sure that they're really solid. Then they don't move and loosen up.
Also, you know, we were talking about the patterns in the bearing in the races, and I was saying that they're a wear in. Ben was worried about they were heat marks. When you have used bearings that already have worn a groove, you can put a little bit of gear oil on them and set the preload much easier because they already have a wear pattern established. And so it's a much more accurate adjustment when you're putting it together. When you're using brand new stuff, I always err on the side of tighter because as they wear in their own groove pattern, they will loosen up a little bit. And we're talking thousandths of an inch, like very microscopic. But that's a big deal when you're talking about different foot-pounds of preload. You know, a bearing that sets in 2/1000ths of an inch, that's a very noticeable difference.
And the races, when you set them, sometimes they're pretty much set, but they can move, and even like 1/100th of a thousandth, when that race moves just that little bit, it can loosen a bearing up just a little bit. So
yeah,
it's used bearings, like you're just pulling it apart and putting it back together, and you're not knocking the races out and pressing new ones in. It's not as big of a deal. But I'm happy with that. It feels good.
it's pretty good.
Looks pretty good. If you brake clean around it so it's dry, because it still has oil film.
We got a gasket
So, are we gonna put any Akumpucky on it? Or?
No, if there's no nicks, well, yeah, there's a spot right there. Oh, I got it. We just, yeah, as long as it's nice and smooth, there's no grooves or nicks or gouges, then the gasket will work good. We don't need to put anything on it.
Okay. Let's go check the other.
The issue with using like a cork gasket and using gasket maker or RTV,
we're not using cork.
and these are paper gaskets. They're like a factory paper gasket. But the problem with using gaskets with RTV is the RTV makes it slippery, and when you tighten it down, a lot of times it'll split and the gaskets will kind of slide apart, and then they don't seal very well. So it's best to have like perfectly dry gasket surfaces when you're using a gasket, as opposed to using RTV or something. But if you're using like the right stuff or a gasket maker instead of a gasket, then you just get a nice even coating all the way around.
Yeah, definitely needs some more cleaning.
There's still quite a bit down the axle tubes. Look in there.
And that's after I got.
Ew, look how nasty that is.
Okay.
With the Toyota factory e-lockers, you have to lock the locker and it moves the sleeve in. Otherwise it won't come out of the diff. So before you pull it apart, lock it and then it'll slide out. If you don't, you're putting power to it with probes and it's not fun.
Just for the ABS.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's the ABS sensor.
Yeah, I about wrote those off. Caleb's looking for you, so I'm like, what am I forgetting? I'm like, oh, I didn't know the ABS sensor went down this far.
Yeah, just as much as you can
Just
get in there.
as much as you can get down, and then once you're done squeezing it down in there,
Put a whole bunch on the back.
yeah.
Like straighten the axle and just put a whole bunch on the back. So you'll have a mound like
From
that.
there, Brock, straighten the axle so it's centered,
Yep.
and then just go all the way
Mound
around
it up.
here, all the way around so it's built up like that. So when we pack these, you don't want to pack it where the seal is, but we want to pack the edges right. Okay, look, right here, all the way around. Like this, and about this much. So not all the way out into here, because this spot is the part where it comes out to this seal here, and we don't want it to squeeze out the seal. So we don't want it all the way out to here, but from about here to here, we want a bunch packed right in like that, and that's this. So you just grab a scoop of it and pack it in one side, grab a scoop, pack it in the other, and just get it, work it all, yep, just like that.
Try not to get everything disgusting. Though.
And then just kind of stuff it.
It wants to stick to my hand.
Yeah,
It's grease.
that's what it does.
That's its job. It's its function in life. Grab another handful.
We'll use about half of this on this side, then we'll use the other half on the other side. Well,
Is that about half?
Yeah, half.
Let's see. Having a teenager is great. Look at it. I don't even have to put rubber gloves on.
Wait, clean the shaft off and there's a bunch of grime on it.
The seal will clean
The
it.
seal will clean it, it's fine. Okay, now you
Turn
gotta
it.
twist it. There we go.
Nice.
That's in. Okay, so to get this side in, Brock, to line it up with the side gears, it's a little tricky. And you don't want to put extra stress on the seal. So you turn the joint down, and as you twist, it pries up the other end. So twist up, and it should slide in.
Oh, I feel it.
Okay, now straighten it back out. Twist. There you go. That way you're not prying on the seal, because if you pry on the seal, you'll ruin it. Don't touch anything.
Ah, fart.
Did you break one?
No, it's these stupid ratchets.
Come here, Brock.
These stupid 100-tooth ratchets that never freaking work. I don't know how you like these, Ben. This can screw up and down, so you set the bearing in there, and then you just pinch it with that.
Okay.
And once it's pinched, this, just like any other grease zerk, pops on the bottom, and then you just pull the trigger on that until grease comes out there.
That is simple.
It's very simple.
Right here, this tab is supposed to be straight and stick down below the rest because the spindle has a notch in it and this slides in it so it can't twist. But that is bent and kind of worn down and it just barely sticks down. Looks like it could spin and twist, and this is what keeps the bearing spindle nuts from backing off. So we want to make sure that that fits in that groove nicely and is nice and tight and can't move. I don't like that at all. So we're gonna replace these, I think. So these have the upgraded spindle nut system, and these ones have a really nice thick one that goes in that same one, and then you put the screws
this way
through
too.
it.
It's 4 times thicker that way.
And you put the lines up, and then you put the screws through this into there, and it locks it, and it holds really nicely. But if this part spins on that inside, this part could bugger up the threads in the spindle as it goes around. We don't want to do that. Yeah. So we'll go ahead
order
and
new washers.
Put brand new ones on Monday, because this is like, what, 20 minutes away from driving once those are there.
The third member's all in. You plugged in the...
Yeah, it's all plugged in.
Okay. So we got the lockers plugged in. Everything's torqued down. We'll put the plugs in, add some oil. Drive lines are in. So we're gonna replace that Monday. And then it's just buttoning up the last couple little things. We'll go ahead and put the brakes and stuff back on it right now. But...
yeah. Then it'll be bolt the hubs on, wheels, and ready to drive again.
We wind this day.
It's only 9.
Hopefully Steve's not too pissed off, because it's going to take an hour to download, and then he's going to have to start
Finish
editing it
Yeah.
at 11. Sorry, Steve.
Thank you.
I was going to say love you, but
No.
it's weird on camera.
Yeah, that's
Olive juice.
olive juice. You too. That's weird too.
And your lips make the same movements as I love you when you say olive juice.
Whatever. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.
Join us next time. Hasta luego.
We got them pulled out, and on our way out, coming down the hill. Yep.